sure.
Yeah.
So since you've played a lot of NCAA tennis, and that's something that India should aspire to, like that level of professionalism. And this we think is the start of that. So if you could like speak about how this compares or how this is the right step towards that direction.
Yeah, I mean, I think the ultimate goal for Indian sport is to actually have a nice system at every single level. So whether it's your 8 and unders, whether you're looking at something for coaching, or whether it's 14 when the people are starting to get a little bit more serious, or whether it's the college level, I think these are spaces where Indian sport generally lacks. Of course, when I say they lack, I mean for most sports except for cricket. Cricket obviously does have a beautiful system with the BCCI has created, and you can really see the benefits for that on yourself. But when it comes to other sports or other worldly established sports, I think a system is lacking, and that's when you talk about how America is so successful because of the NCAA system. Even for sports like basketball, the NBA, most of the people who come from the NBA come through the NCAA. Obviously, the NFL has pretty much 100% of the NFL players have come from some college or the other. But really apart from just the system, what we're actually encouraging is we are encouraging kids to take up sports and not leave education. I think that's one of the spaces where Indian kids have really been left behind, because they either go all into sports and leave education behind, or they go all into education and leave life behind, or something like that. What SFA, in essence, to me at least, is trying to create by targeting schools is to say that sports and education can go hand in hand. We are not only trying to make champions, we are also trying to make holistic human beings. And having these kids have these experiences is obviously going to help them in the long run with health benefits. So overall, there really seem to be a lot of things that are aligned with overall grassroots development, and that's like I said, the school system is now being targeted. I think the next step would obviously be colleges to have that kind of infrastructure, and once we have good systems at every level, then there's no reason for us not to succeed at the professional level.
One last question. So what we're going to discuss was the fact that a lot of players play individual sports at the grassroots level, and what they don't feel is a sense of belongingness or a sense of contingent that I think creates a whole different atmosphere when you belong to something else, something bigger, and that's something that you get at a Olympic level or a Commonwealth Games, Asian Games, but you don't get it at the school level generally. So how important do you think it is to have that kind of a platform at this age, right from 6 to let's say 15, 16-year-olds who are playing for their school and representing something bigger, and they're all together as a part of big contingent, they're like with each other, and the kind of impact that has on an athlete.
Right. Yeah, honestly, I think one of the beauties of sport, regardless of if it's an individual sport or a team sport, is that when you're playing sport, because of the practices and because of the bonds you make with your coaches and your team around you, whether you're a pro or anything else, is that you have a sense of community. You have a sense of something bigger that you're working for. So, for example, in a football team, when you had Sir Alex Ferguson in Manchester United, everything was always towards the club. And I think similarly with Indian cricket, it's the same way. But that's the beauty of sport. I think it really forms that sense of community regardless of what sport you're playing, because you realize that in order for you to succeed as a professional, you need the best interest and the best help and the best motivation from everybody around you. And once you've reached a certain level, there's always a way to give back. In fact, I would argue that there's always a way to give back regardless of what level you've reached, because that's a quality that we want to actually instill in all the kids over here is how can you help your teammate? How can you help the kid that's not as good as you are, or a kid from an opposing team? How can you actually help and how can you give back? Because if we actually start instilling the true sporting culture, there's no reason why SFA can't be huge, and through that there's no reason why a sport in India can't be a lot better than it is.